two points of call for information are myself as Director of Curriculum and Mrs. Fletcher, who's our Careers Advisor. And so if you have information about subjects and as they pertain to, am I eligible for an HSC or an ATAR if I do these subjects, I'm probably the person to call. If you have questions about how will this help my career, apprenticeships, SBATs, those sorts of things, Mrs. Fletcher is your first port of call, and then if we have to, we will communicate on our relevant bits and pieces. Come on in, see? Excellent. So all anybody missed was basically if you have questions about subjects and anything NESA related, you can contact me. If you have questions about careers related aspects of subject choices, you can contact Mrs. Fletcher. And both of us will be inside in the very centre of the room after this if you have follow-up questions. Alright, so you guys are about to go into Year 11 next year, those of you who are choosing to stay on and do Year 11, and you're going to start hearing the phrases HSC and ATAR a lot. Okay? So I thought it might be handy if you understand what the difference between the two of them is. And how they're related. So the HSC is the qualification that you will leave Year 12 with, provided that you complete the necessary course of study. It's for all students who complete successfully Year 11 and 12 with enough units. And it reports on your achievement within the courses. The ATAR is specifically for students who wish to gain access to university courses immediately after school. The ATAR becomes unusable 12 months after you leave school. It is only usable for access to university the year after. You can defer for 12 months, so you can say, yes, I want to do that uni course, and then defer for 12 months and have that gap year if you like. But basically, if you don't use that ATAR in the first 12 months, it becomes unusable anyway. So if your intention is not to go to university straight out of school, you do not need an ATAR. It's also a rank. It is not, it's not a mark. It is a percentile of how you ranked in accordance with your year group within the state. So basically, you do all your HSC assessments, and then you do your HSC exams, and then you get a mark for each course that you do. Then they take your best 10 units, or 5 subjects, and they add up those marks, and so out of 500, they put all the marks out of 500 in a big long list, and they go, right, these ones, they're the top 5% or top 0.05%, and then these ones, and then these ones, and then these ones, and then they allocate each of those groups to an ATAR ranking, right? And so if you get an ATAR of 80, then that means you have performed better than 80% of the state, right, in the HSC. It does not mean you scored 80 on any of your courses. So actually, the HSC mark and your ATAR often bear very little resemblance to one another. So it's really important you know that. So there's no way to predict what your ATAR is going to be based on your course marks. And I will say that to you very many times between now and the end of the HSC, because none of you seem to believe me when I tell you that the first time. So you cannot predict your ATAR. The only thing you can control in the HSC is how you perform in your courses. That's it. The ATAR is going to be what it's going to be. But universities use them because they're an objective metric to compare students across a large group so that they can grant access into those university courses. Isn't ATAR the only way into university? Not even close. In fact, over 70% of our HSC students get into university through early entry programs. Very few of them gain access to university through their ATAR alone. So that is really important for you guys to know. Alright, in order to be eligible for an HSC, you must complete 6 2-unit courses in Year 11. So most of the courses are 2 units each. Extension courses are 1 unit each. And I don't think we offer any other 1-unit courses except the extension ones. So you must do 6 of those in Year 11, and then you must do a minimum of 5 2-unit courses in Year 12 or equivalent units. To be eligible for an ATAR, you must complete that as a bare minimum, but all of the courses that you do in Year 12, or at least 5 of them, must have an HSC examination. If they have an HSC examination, they can be used for the ATAR. Some VET courses do not have HSC examinations, so we are looking at offering the Certificate 3 in Visual Arts, which does not have an HSC exam. The Certificate 3 in Fitness does not have an HSC exam. And English Studies and Maths Standard 1 have optional HSC exams. Numeracy does not have an HSC exam at all and cannot be used for an ATAR. So when you are looking around tonight, please make sure that you ask about specific courses, and if they have an HSC exam, they can be used for the ATAR. There used to be a whole lot of complicated rules about combinations of certain subjects, but basically they've simplified it now, which is nice. So if it has an exam, it can be used for the ATAR. Right, so for your subjects, when you make your selections, you must pick an English. Oh, sorry, this is where I usually pause for the okay, cool. And you must pick a maths. No, those either? Fine. Alright, and then you pick 8 other subjects. You are not doing 8 other subjects, right? You are doing English, maths, and 4 other subjects. But we pick 8 because there's no guarantee that you get the exact 4 the top 4 that you want. Now the reason for that isn't necessarily that we don't run those subjects, it's that we can only run so many subjects at a time, and it might be that you wanted to do geography and CAFs, but for some reason they're on at the same time, so you have to pick. And then you might need to pick another subject on a line that maybe wasn't your first choice, but I think in the end you end up with a subject that you'll do for Year 11, but you might not love. And that's okay. At the end of Year 11, you are in fact allowed to drop a subject if you would like to. And so sometimes I just say to students, that might be a subject that you drop. But some students end up doing the subject they didn't pick initially and then really enjoy it. So you never know. Now, if we don't have the exact subject you're looking for, there are other options. So you can look into TAFE. However, due to the exceptional wisdom of the state government and how they fund education, if you go to an independent school, you have to pay out of pocket for TAFE courses if you're still enrolled at school. If you attend a public school, then the TAFE is free, which is disappointing, but not something that we control. The college does contribute 10% of the overall cost of the TAFE fee, and we've also recently changed our policy where we don't make you pay for the course up front. We simply add the balance to your school fees and you can pay it over time like you do with your school fees. So that has made TAFE courses more accessible and affordable for students in Years 11 and 12. You can also choose distance education courses. We don't have an unlimited number of spots available for distance education, but for courses that we don't run, Students can access distance education courses through Camden Haven High School. If they don't have availability for that course, then we will look to the next available distance education school. And those courses are $800 a year, which we do require to be paid up front. And then of course you have the other option of an SBAT, a school-based apprenticeship traineeship, which is kind of like an apprenticeship, but students do that while they're still at school. And in that situation, students find an employer willing to sponsor them. The employer pays for the cost of the TAFE, and the student will spend 1 day per week at work with that employer throughout their Year 11 and 12 schooling. It is not a small commitment and something that needs to be seriously thought about. And if you think that's for you, please touch base with Mrs. Fletcher. Now, these are all the courses that we have on offer. The Certificate 3 in Christian Ministry and Theology is only a 1-year course. It is like a distance education course. It's run through a company called VETA, and the school has decided that they are going to sponsor a certain number of students who are interested in completing that course. So this year we had, I think, 3 students completing the Certificate 3 in Christian Ministry and Theology in Year 11. It involves a lot of online work. We have a staff member on site who facilitates regular Bible studies and catch-ups, and they go on 3 retreats throughout the year where they meet up with other students doing this course to engage in fellowship. And it's a really excellent opportunity for students who are looking to delve deeper into their own faith and really explore what Christianity means to them. We do only have about 3 or 4 spots available in that course. If it was very, very popular, we could explore a larger candidature, but in general, we're probably only looking at about 3 or 4 students for that course. But if you have questions about that, Mr. DePreya is who you want to talk to about that. Any new courses? For the first time we are offering Earth and Environmental Science, which is part of our lovely suite of science subjects. Mrs. Sage will be happy to talk to you about what's in the Earth and Environmental Science course if you are interested in that. But I think that might be all of the new courses for next year. Oh, and the Certificate 3 in Fitness, which I believe Mr. Lewis is going to be teaching. So the Certificate 3 in Fitness qualifies students to teach group fitness classes. It is not the personal trainer qualification. The Certificate 4 is what you require to be a personal trainer, but it is a good stepping stone for students who think that that might be a career path that they're interested in. So if you're interested in that, please talk to Mr. Lewis or Mrs. Holliger, who is the head of VET. Now, the process for selecting your subjects exactly the same as how you've been choosing your electives the last couple of years and how you select your sports preferences. So you're going to gather some information about what you want. When I send out the link to you at the beginning of next term, you will log into EdVal, submit your form, and then we do some jiggery-pokery behind the scenes and line up what we think the best subject lines look like. The computer does a lot of the heavy lifting on that one. And then Mrs. Hill and myself and Mr. Coleman get in a back room together and we go, And then we make the final call on that. And then we let you guys know. I will have individual meetings with every student in Year 10 to make sure that you're as happy as possible with your choices. So if you mistakenly put down on your preferences that you think you'd really like to have a go at advanced maths, but then by the time you get to term 4 and I'm telling you, yeah, you can do advanced maths, they go, no thank you, I think standards for me. We can make those changes then. Okay, so don't feel like you're locked into whatever level of maths or English you put on your preferences form. However, it is absolutely worth talking to your English and maths teacher about what level they recommend for you. They have a lot of experience. And whilst you may have desires to do a more academically rigorous course, I heave you to listen to them because we have a situation this year where a lot of students thought to themselves, I'll give advanced maths a go, but throughout the year they've decided they'd like to do standard. However, we only have one Year 11 standard class this year and it's very, very full. It's got 28 kids in it. If we had known that so many of those kids wanted to change to standard, we'd have 2 standard classes, but now we can't let them drop down to standard because there's no room for them in that class. So it's really important that we know how many students we're going to have for those courses so we can appropriately staff them. So if you think, oh yeah, I just want to have a go at advanced something, I'm not saying don't, I'm just saying think really carefully about whether you intend to fulfill the whole of Year 11 in that course. And if you don't think you are, maybe don't pick the more advanced course. It helps us with numbers and then it helps make sure that you're not trapped in a course that you're not excited about or not succeeding in. But yes, I will have individual meetings with all of you. If you really are just not happy with what's on offer, we can talk options like distance education, TAFE, but ultimately, once the subject lines are decided on, they very rarely shift. Usually they'll only change if we have extreme staff changes that mean that we're going to have to redo the lines for some reason. So if you look at what's on offer and you're like, oh man, I just don't know, then maybe we'll just book a time and have a meeting about what we can possibly do to accommodate that. Right, before choosing your subjects, please make sure you do some research. So know the ATAR requirements. Like I said, you can't control your ATAR, but it helps to know what you're working towards, what it is you think you need to get into a course you're interested in. The possible careers or courses, now, plenty of you have not decided, or will change your mind 100 times between now and the end of Year 12. That is absolutely fine. But what I can tell you from experience is that if you are not working towards a goal of some kind, it is incredibly hard to motivate people without a goal. So if you do not have a career goal in mind or an ATAR goal in mind, please pick a goal of any kind, because Year 11 and 12 is really, really hard, right? None of the HSC subjects are easy. So it's the HSC. It is a lot of work. So please make sure you have a goal to help motivate you. Because if you're just going to Year 11 because you can't think of whatever else to do, like, you may not have a great time in Year 11 and 12. You will struggle. I just see it every year. The kids who come back and they don't have something they're working towards in mind, they're the kids who aren't getting tasks in on time. They're the kids who are getting end warning letters and having behavioural issues. And that doesn't mean that they're bad kids. It just means that they aren't working towards anything, they aren't motivated, and so when it gets hard, there's nothing to push them forward. So please find something to work towards if you're coming back next year. If you are working towards a particular course, please make sure you check if there are prerequisite subjects. Very few university courses have actual prerequisites anymore. Some degrees may have a recommended level of maths or a prerequisite level of maths, but very few of them do have anything other than a maths. Possibly a particular science if you're looking at med at certain universities, but just check. Just go online to the university you think you might want to go to, have a look at the course and see if that's something it says you must do. Some of them will have suggested courses, but very few of them will have actual prerequisites. There are a list of things you can do to help make some decisions. So you can talk to Mrs. Fletcher, our careers advisor. You can talk to me about different pathways. Your year advisor, you can complete the My Future Finder aptitude test. It helps give you some direction, some careers that you might be good at or might interest you. You can do some more work experience. And also think about supply and demand. Like, if you decide you want to be a teacher, you will never be unemployed, like ever. So, do you compromise your mental health a little bit? Yeah. But you will never be out of work. So. How not to choose a subject? You think it's easy? They're not. No HSC subject is easy, I promise you. None of them. Please don't pick them because your friends are doing it. Nope. Just bad idea. Friendships break up. I have seen some of the most cataclysmic Year 12 social breakdowns where classes just became unbearable for people because such and such did this, and now the fabric of Year 12 is breaking down, and now they can't be in a room together. So please don't pick subjects because your friends are in there, because if your friends go away all of a sudden, then you lose your motivation to succeed in that class. And Year 11 and 12, a really big component, like I said, is motivation. Please don't let your friends be your motivation to succeed in class. And please don't pick a class because you like a particular teacher, because there's no guarantee that that teacher will be here next year. There's staff turnover. Sometimes staff rotate between subjects, so there's just no guarantee. So please don't pick a course because you like the teacher, your friends are in that course, or you think it's going to be easy. All bad reasons. Right. Something to be mindful of as you think about Year 11 and 12. The HSC, as I've said, is not easy. And you do a lot more independent work. So when you think about Year 11 and 12, I want you to think, am I these things? Am I responsible, respectful? Do I attend school regularly? Am I diligent? Do I try my best? Am I self-motivated? Am I committed? And can I prioritize responsibilities when necessary? So can I miss a social event to make sure my assessment gets done? Because I can tell you the answer to that, not always yes. Nope. Or can I say no to a shift at work to make sure that my assessment gets done? Because I can tell you the answer to that is not always yes. I cannot tell you the number of students who still work 30 hours a week at McDonald's while doing Year 11 and 12. And I just think, how? How do you think you're doing your best when you work 30 hours a week? No, you're just not. And I know this seems really blunt, but if I don't tell it to you straight, then a lot of you guys don't hear it. So please do not think you can work basically part or full-time jobs throughout all of Year 11 and 12 and it won't compromise your education. It will. Please do not think you can go to every social gathering that your friends have planned and it won't affect your studies. It will. Am I saying you have to live like a hermit and have no life for 2 years? No. Alright? It's just about making responsible choices. And as I tell my 6-year-old, we do the things we have to do first, then we do the things we want to do. And that needs to be your mantra for Year 11 and 12. Alright? Now, other options for young people who've completed Year 10 but have not yet reached 17 years of age, which is when you are legally allowed to leave school. There are a number of options. You can stay at secondary school with 6 subjects. You can obtain an apprenticeship or traineeship or an SBAC. You can enroll in a TAFE course, or you can find paid employment, but it needs to be 25 hours a week in order for you to leave school before the age of 17. And we need a letter from your employer that says that they will honour that. Because currently you must stay at school until you're 17 unless you have other education opportunities or 25 hours a week of work to go to. So please keep that in mind. If you want to leave at the end of Year 10, you need to make sure you have one of those things teed up. And Mrs. Fletcher can help you with that, but she will not do all the work for you. So you are going to have to put some feelers out on your own. All right, what's next? Pray. Pray for wisdom. There are no bad choices, but I find the hardest decisions to make are the choices where there isn't a bad or a good choice, where there's just a choice to be made. And those are the ones I need the most guidance on, if I'm honest. Talk to your subject teachers and heads of department, talk to your parents, just talk talk to lots of people and listen to lots of people and collect all the information and advice you can. You don't have to listen to all of it, you don't have to take all of it on, but the more information you are armed with, the better choices you can make. So, we have some different employers and educational institutions represented out there in the MPC today as well. So if you're looking for a career in healthcare, disability support services, the police force, the Department of Defence, we have representatives from all of those industries out there this evening ready to talk to you. We have representatives from Tari University's campus and TAFE, New South Wales, who are also happy to advise you, and Mid-Coast Connect, who are an amazing local institution who helps students transition out of school and into work, apprenticeships and TAFE. So we have lots of people out there with lots of information to help you make some decisions. Please go out there and have a chat with them. Have a lovely evening. And I'll be here for questions if you have any.